Welcome back to DeLorean Rental, your number one choice when looking to rent a DeLorean time machine for your next party or event. If you're a fan of time travel and classic cinema, you're in for a treat today. We're diving deep into the Back to the Future Part 1 to uncover all the hidden references, clever callbacks, and sneaky Easter eggs that make these films a treasure trove for fans. So grab your flux capacitor and let's get started. The first Back to the Future premiered in 1985, starring Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox as Doc Brown and Marty McFly, respectively, time-traveling in a plutonium-powered DeLorean and trying to get out of the year 1955 without causing any time paradoxes. 4 years later, Back to the Future Part 2 came out, with Back to the Future Part 3 being released just the following year. After over 30 years, the trilogy's legacy still ripples in our culture. People worldwide commemorated Back to the Future Day on October 21, 2015, in reference to the day in the future that Marty and Doc traveled to in Back to the Future Part 2. Likewise, from Marvel's Back to the Future Easter eggs to Family Guy cutaway gags, Back to the Future continues to reverberate through pop culture. Despite Back to the Future being quintessentially 80s, the trilogy has managed to become timeless in its own right. Fitting, considering that the trilogy explores a 130-year period. The first film focuses on how to get Marty back to the year 1985 while avoiding an Oedipal bond with his mother and getting his reclusive, nerdy father out of his shell. Part 2 follows a similar formula by revisiting events from the first film and exploring different aspects of time travel. Finally, Part 3 takes the main characters to the Wild West as they try to once again return to 1985 in the face of technology that's yet to be invented. Back to the Future's numerous Easter eggs have engaged audiences in finding them for the past 3 decades. References remain after Back to the Future lowered their budget in lieu of their original nuclear bomb-based storyline. There are in-universe references such as the well-known Twin Pines Lone Pines Mall Easter egg and the evolving Statler trade. Behind-the-scenes references to Robert Zemeckis, Bob Gale, and executive producer Steven Spielberg also pop up throughout the trilogy. Easter eggs include anything that the audience can point out as a behind-the-scenes gag or in-movie reference. Callbacks like Biff's manure truck bit, line repeats from earlier, or the bedside "you're safe and sound" in Good Old gag won't be considered, as they're meant to be formulaic to the film. If something's popping in the background or hints at the filmmakers being clever and fun, then it's on the list. Regardless, whatever the reference relates to, here are all of the Easter eggs to be found in the entire Back to the Future Part 1. The clocks in the opening. Back to the Future's time travel accuracy bases a lot of itself on existing sci-fi classics because, well, time travel isn't scientifically feasible. Still, right at the first shot are 2 references. First off, the synchronized clock opening is one of the few homages to the movie Time Machine. Secondly, the clock with the man hanging from the minute hand references actor Harold Lloyd's famous scene in Safety Last. And also alludes to Back to the Future's climax of Doc at the clock tower. JVC video camera. On the bed during the opening shot, there's the JVC video camera that Marty later uses to film the DeLorean footage. It's a good allusion to the eagle-eyed viewer for what's to come later, and it's a good clue into how much time Marty spends at Doc's place. The Burger King wrappers are also a pretty good indicator. CRM-114 on the amp, CRM-114 on the giant guitar amp that Marty plugs into alludes to Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove and is referenced throughout movie history as a popular Easter egg. It's kind of like the A113 Easter egg in Pixar films, referencing the classroom for first-year graphic design at the California Institute of Arts. The CRM-114 Easter egg is also used in A Clockwork Orange and Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. 1646 John F. Kennedy Drive. As Marty is rushing to school to Huey Lewis and the new Sweet Power of Love tune, 1646 is on the gate as he's leaving Doc's place. This implies that Doc is living out of his garage, no longer the massive mansion from 1955. Doc does say that his time-traveling dream cost him his family fortune, after all. Huey Lewis cameo. See that guy yelling that the music's too loud? Ironically, that's Huey Lewis himself. He's referring, no less, to his own song. Michael J. Fox guitar instructor. Michael J. Fox saved Back to the Future in many ways after replacing the original Marty, Eric Stoltz. While there's no hate on Stoltz, Fox brought a funnier, more charismatic quality to the character. His guitar skills also heightened the cool factor of the role and brought forth some of the franchise's most iconic moments. During his talent show audition with his band The Pinheads, the mullet blonde guy with the army hat and red guitar is actually Fox's real-life guitar instructor, Paul Hansen. Statler Toyota. The Statler family in Hill Valley go way back. They're referenced throughout the trilogy, from selling horse and buggies in Back to the Future, Part 3 and being a Studebaker dealership in the 50s. Their first on-screen mention was the film's opening radio commercial. Orgy American Style at the movies. Look in the back, and you'll see Orgy American Style on the Essex Theatre marquee. Marty and his girlfriend Jennifer, played by Claudia Wells before Elizabeth Shue replaces her in Back to the Future, Part 2, pass an adult store not long before this shot. So, a pornography theater in the middle of downtown Hill Valley? Not unusual. But, the theater playing a porno from 1973, 12 years prior? This is because that film stars George Buckflower, the guy playing the bum in Back to the Future. The Honeymooners episode. The Honeymooners episode The Man from Space is referenced throughout the first movie. Its first instance on screen is in 1985 with the McFlys eating dinner and George watching it on television, laughing while Lorraine is recalling the night they met at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. The next instance is in 1955 when Marty is watching television with his mother's family at the dinner table. Hey, I've seen this one," remarks Marty. "What do you mean you've seen this?" "It's brand new," says his young uncle Milton. Twin Pines Lone Pines Mall. How did Marty and Doc meet in Back to the Future? An old scientist and a high school kid is kind of a weird friendship, but it's strong enough for Doc to make Marty the first person alive to witness time travel with him. And what better place to showcase your time machine than a mall parking lot after midnight? In one of Back to the Future's most famous Easter eggs, Twin Pines Mall becomes Lone Pine Mall at the end of the film, calling back to the moment that Marty crashes down one of Farmer Peabody's pines with the DeLorean in 1955. Einstein, the shaggy dog behind the wheel. Alluding to Disney's 1959 film The Shaggy Dog, according to Bob Gale, Doc's dog Einstein is behind the wheel of the DeLorean. Equal parts cute, equal parts necessary for time travel experimentation. Also, Back to the Future's original monkey sidekick for Doc would have probably been more difficult to keep behind the wheel, compared to a Catalan sheepdog. Another minor Easter egg in this shot, the red-green-yellow color scheme of the time dashboard is another time machine reference. 1 minute, 21 seconds equals 1.21 gigawatts. Everyone who's watched Back to the Future knows that the DeLorean requires 1.21 gigawatts. During Einstein's time travel experiment, he's taken 1 minute into the future from 1:20 a.m. It's a clever little play, then, to have Einstein arrive at 1:21 a.m. November 5, 1955. While Bob Gale insists that it's just a coincidence, fans looked into whether November 5th has any relevance. It turns out that, besides being Guy Fawkes Day, it's the birthday of Gale's father. Again, totally a coincidence, but a fun thing to catch. The time travel dates were chosen to coincide with the filming schedule. Getting shot, Doc isn't bleeding. While the fate of Back to the Future's Libyans is unclear in the film, Doc's first instance of getting shot by them gives viewers a little foreshadowing. Notice that Doc's bullet holes aren't bleeding. Maybe this is chalked up to the PG rating, but still, getting shot close range by a machine gun would produce something. Either way, at the end it's revealed that Doc wore a bulletproof vest. Is he wearing the bulletproof vest here, or is this not the right timeline? Let's leave that to the time travel experts. Sherman Peabody. The son on the ranch Marty arrives at is the only one in the family given a first name, credited as Sherman Peabody. He tells his family that the DeLorean ain't no airplane as he gives his father a science fiction comic book. Disney may have turned down Back to the Future, but not Universal, which distributed the Rocky and Bullwinkle show and its supporting feature, Peabody's Improbable History with Mr. Peabody and Sherman in the Waback Machine. Comic book detail. Give it up to the art department for their attention to detail on this comic book cover. While Tales from Space is fictional, everything from the 1950s EC Comics logo to the lettering closely replicates comic cover art from that time period. The 1950s had a science fiction boom, and this isn't the only sci-fi reference in Back to the Future. Record store 50s references. With Michael J. Fox replacing Stoltz in Back to the Future, he was able to build up a more fish-out-of-water angle that the film was trying to go for, playing up the comedy. Him walking around 1950s Hill Valley and seeing all the differences with Mr. Sandman scoring the scene is one of the trilogy's most memorable moments. Look around the scene. There are lots of tidbits from the 1950s. For example, the record store window that the camera pans to references Patti Page and Nat King Cole. The iconic 1640 Riverside Drive. Doc Brown's house at 1640 Riverside Drive is actually a famous property in Pasadena, California. It's the Gamble House, once owned by David and Mary Gamble of Procter & Gamble fame. The house's interior is actually the Robert R. Blacker house, as filming inside the Gamble House is prohibited. Ron Woodward for Senior Class President. Notice to the left a poster saying Ron Woodward for Senior Class President. Ron Woodward was the film's key grip, and the set decorators put his name on the poster as an inside joke. Woodward also worked with Zemeckis on Romancing the Stone. Edward Van Halen. Marty inserts a cassette tape labeled Edward Van Halen, with Edward squeezed on the label. Van Halen didn't give the film permission to use their music, but Eddie himself was okay with it. Eddie's music cameo in Back to the Future is a further nod to the musician's part in helping the film out. May he rest in peace. Vulcan Darth Vader and hairdryer goof. My name is Darth Vader, and I come from the planet Vulcan. No need to explain this reference further. Notice the hairdryer at the waist. Fans point out that hairdryers didn't exist in 1955, which Gale explains away in his Back to the Future FAQ. The hairdryer is also a goof, though, as it wasn't in the shot previously. It's your cousin Marvin. Marvin Berry? A funny joke in the film that is often referenced in pop culture is the Marvin Berry moment. As Marty is playing Johnny Be Good, Marvin is on the phone with his cousin, Chuck. The rest is history. The Atomic Kid. Marty's influence in 1955, from Back to the Future's Biff to, of course, his parents, changes 1985 for the better. After going back to that year, Doc celebrates in the street around the fiery track marks. In the background, the Town Theater marquee reads The Atomic Kid, alluding to the 1954 Mickey Rooney film about a kid gaining superpowers from uranium exposure. It references the original script that involved Marty going back to the future via a nuclear bomb explosion. Chip in the clock tower. Notice underneath the clock a chip in the concrete. That's where Doc chipped it during the 1955 lightning storm while getting Marty back. Also notice at the beginning of the film that the chip is not there. Red. When Marty comes back to 1985, fans wonder if it's a new Marty or not in Back to the Future. Either way, in a relieved tone, Marty greets the bum on the bench as Red. Fans joke that the bum is former Hill Valley Mayor Red Thomas, but the creators dispute that. It was apparently Michael J. Fox ad-libbing. And there you have it, all the Easter eggs from the Back to the Future Part 1. It's amazing how many layers there are to these films, making them a true delight for fans who love to dig deep into their favorite movies. Thanks for joining us on this time-traveling adventure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Have any favorite Easter eggs we missed? Drop them in the comments below, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay tuned for part 2 and 3 Easter eggs in the coming weeks. Until next time, keep on traveling through time.